All right, we're back here, and it is another edition of the Astro Weather. Hold on a second. Let me just do a little glass cleaning just for a moment. There we go. And I am your Astro Weatherman, Robert Phoenix. Welcome. It is Tears Day. That's right, Tyr, the wolf, Tyr the wolf. Mars. This is Mars Day. Anyway, how is everybody? We got a birthday girl today over in chat, and it's not Michael's sister Nino. It's not Scott Aon. It is not the new Next, although she is a neighbor, relatively speaking, of the new Next. Me and my higher self enjoying a nice morning by the water. Man, these are some good mushrooms. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Mushrooms, morning, water. It just sounds like a nice day off to me. The Bisou was cruising on Facebook yesterday. I saw a really recent picture of the Bisou. Looking good over there. Oh, look who it is. Look who it is. Janice Phillips. Happy birthday, Janice. You know, I was thinking about your name the other day, literally the other day, like yesterday. And I thought, well, Janice is a Gemini, and Janice is also like Janus, Janus, the two-faced god, which is also in some ways very reminiscent of Gemini. So, you know, a lot of times we have names that represent our sun signs. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. My son, his name is Griffin, and you have Finn in there, which was going to be his name originally, but we went with Griffin instead. I'm glad we did. And he's a Pisces, and of course, fish have fins. Oh, speaking of fish, he's no fish, but he likes a good fish every now and then. Look who it is. It's the king. It's the king. It's the astrological cat. That's right. He's right here. The big Buddha himself. All right. Who else do we have here? Laura E. Hi, Laura E. Misbehaving too. Jackie Delario. Soul Traveler. Devin Dewar. Mars and Virgo. I'm already feeling it. Anybody else? Yes. Mars and Virgo. Very critical, isn't it, Jasper? You like Mars and Virgo? Let's see, Soul Traveler. Lana Winkler. Road Trip 1981. Dusty Laga. Introspective Woodworker. I have put the Southern Tour on hold for now. Next. On hold for now. There you go. Come over there and join up on locals. Elspeth Heron. Hey, it's a sighting. Good to see you. Stephanie Hunter. Hello, Stephanie. Thor at the door. My man, Steve. Warlanda. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That'd be nice. Come on, you can do it right now. If you're in here, hit that like because you know you're going to like the show. The lovely and talented one, Sabian Austin, one tooth at a time. Dr. Joan S. Diane Evans is here. Esperanza Venstaro. Yes, if you'd like the reading, you know where to go. That's the spot. Thank you, Ryan. Let's see. Michael's back. S.L. Sully's here, along with Lisa Ann White and Hammer Time. And Sharon Lewis and Janine and Scrubbies. Knight of Cups, Tom Jordan. Man, we're loaded. WC Ray, man, this El Nino cycle is awful. We're kind of liking it here in Texas. I have to say, the rain has been an absolute godsend, and the temperatures have been relatively mild, I have to say. We're digging it. Just saying. Let's see. Moira in New York City, however, is experiencing another dreary, wet, rainy day. Somehow for New York, that works just fine, but not in the summertime. You want to get out and walk around, and there you go. You can buy me a cup of coffee there. Thank you, Ryan. Kabuki Theater, what's up, Bo? Let's see, who else we have here? Yes, 15 minutes. I tried to put the link in last night. Thank you, Ryan. I tried to put the link in last night, but I'm doing this new thing where I'm streaming live on Facebook. I'm not sure if anybody's there or anybody cares, but I want to go back in and put the link back in, and it couldn't do it. Wouldn't let me. Harry Bowie, hey, Mazumink, what's happening down there in SoCal? Up early. Holly Beth, there's my guy, Neil Smith. What's up, Neil? Let's see who else we have here. Did I say hi to Steve going by the door? The mayor. Good, should be good. We got a Jake side. Hi, Jake. Mary DeCina, speak on your insights on this war. Oh, it's going. It's going. I guess I can talk about some of it here today. Artist Sear, what's up? SL Sully smashed mine. Did you smash yours? Thank you, SL Sully. Too much rain to the Texas coast. One small tropical storm is going to have trees down over. It's pretty soggy. That's the thing about Texas. It's not all the same. It's a strange and diverse state in some ways. You wouldn't think it, but it is. My man Lyle's in the house. Thanks, Lyle. And then Noelle Way is here. Noelle. Joan is driving. Joan is multitasking. She's great at that. Okay. Let's drop into the weather. 7 minutes in. Do a weather drop. Yeah, that's where we are, right there. Mm-hmm. Sure enough. Now let's see. Does it look the same? Does it look the same? No, it doesn't look the same. So I'll stop sharing and try it again one more time. All right, there we go. We're going to zoom in a little. Let me. I like this layout where I'm just a little smaller, and then the chart's a little bigger for all you geriatric types. I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Okay. Yes, we have a planetary change. We're shedding some kind of an effect. Like, planetary change. Sounds like a walrus, doesn't it? It's Mars. It's in Virgo. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's going to be very interesting. I'm going to go right into the geopolitics. It's going to be very interesting to see how critical people are of this new conflict that we now seem to be embroiled in. And Mars and Virgo can be very, very critical. Now, we know that Trump is a Leo rising, but his first house is ruled by, well, it's not ruled by Leo, kind of. It's mostly Virgo. In whole signs, of course, Donald Trump is a Virgo rising. But really, does he look like a Virgo freaking rising? This is where your whole sign thing kind of goes to pot a little bit. You know what I mean? Because that motherfucker is a Leo rising. However, this is something about Trump that it's Taco Trump. Trump always caves, right? He comes on really strong with that Leo rising and Mars on his ascendant. And then that weird Virgo first house kicks in. And he becomes way more conservative, and not conservative in a way that Thomas Massey would want to be conservative. Conservative in that he backs way off of his radical or hardline or hardcore pronouncements, and actually comes off more as a first house Virgo, because it's mutable. He's changing his mind. He's coming off of this kind of hard fixed ascendant, and then he's changing his mind. He's into the mutability of his first house. And I mean, you can really see that, right? Now, but now he's got Mars in his first house in Virgo. He's going to take criticism, and he will be equally critical back, I can assure you. And very defensive. Mars in Virgo is a very defensive Mars. It's not as defensive as Mars in Cancer, which is truly defensive, meaning it's going to defend the home, it's going to defend your children, it's going to defend the brood, right? That's Mars going to defend your stocks of grain, right? That's Mars in Cancer. Mars in Virgo is. I'm gonna go a little Chuck Norris here for Mars and Virgo. The best defense is a good offense. And that's really Mars and Virgo. You wouldn't think of Mars and Virgo as being aggressive, but it can be very aggressive. It can be highly, highly critical. And it can be uber demanding. It's not an easy Mars to have in the chart. I got to tell you now, if you're a healer like our guy Mayor Steve, Mars and Virgo can be quite good because it can activate your kind of need to serve and heal, and you have a lot of energy and power and sort of will around that. Right. So, I mean, if you're a healer, you got Mars and Virgo, you're like the Energizer Bunny. And that's a good thing. Mars needs application. That's the nature of Mars. It needs application. It needs to be able to express itself. Remember, if you don't use Mars, Mars will basically use you, and not in a very, at times, conscious or healthy way. It's the nature of Mars, because you're disassociated from the expression of your will. So Mars and Virgo, just in Trump's first house, he's going to be more on the offensive than I would say if it was, he only gets a few degrees of Mars in Leo. But you could already see it. I mean, he was calling Tucker Carlson kooky. Tucker Carlson has done more for Donald Trump and his image and mainstreaming his image than almost anybody else in the media. The other thing too, this is another thing about Trump, is that, oh my God, this is squirrel. Squirrel's going down the bird feeder line and sticking his little snout in the bird feeder openings for the birds. That little fucker, look at him. Look at him. He almost lost it. He almost fell. Oh, you are a smart little squirrel. Man, it's like the Jack LaLanne squirrels. Anyway, squirrel. Sorry. Getting back to Trump here, and we'll get more into Mars and Virgo. But you can tell, even without Mars in his first house, he's like super picky. He only eats 2 foods: McDonald's and well-done steaks. I mean, that's it. That's all the guy eats. And apparently he's a big germaphobe. And that's very much like, so he's got this big Leo rising and the hair and Mars, and, he's got, but he's sort of like He's sort of like the Wizard of Oz in some ways, although much more anally retentive, because Virgo is very, very much into control in the first house. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of effect Mars has, both him coming at other people and being on the offensive, defensive, and people coming at him and being critical. And I think with all with good reason and cause, because of his newfound love for war. Remember, this was the anti-war. I'm not going to get into any war for the so-called neocons guy. Remember that guy? Anyway, it's not for the American people. It's not a good time to necessarily start a war with Mars and Virgo, because they will be critical. In general, if you look at the American chart, the midheaven is ruled by Virgo, and the United States has Neptune in Virgo on the midheaven. So transiting Mars will go through America's ninth house below. That's conflict abroad, right? And then it conjuncts the American natal Neptune. In fact, I can even show you if you guys are interested, since we're on the subject here. And I think it's a reasonable subject. Don't you? I think it's a reasonable subject. I think it is, but I'll show you because I know the US chart pretty well. So I'll show this to you right here. Okay, so here we go. This is what I'm talking about. This is so the US has Libra 1 on the midheaven. Right there. See that? Boom. And then here's Neptune. It's not quite there, but it's close. It's 9 degrees. And here we go. Mars, ninth house. Right? What is Mars? Conflict, progression. What is the ninth house? It's foreign countries. Here we go. Right there. Now, by the time Mars gets to that 22nd degree, right, we are a Mars-Neptune conjunction, and I guarantee you that is not a great transit. Not a great transit. But this is the march to war right here. Tick, 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 tick. America's got an interesting chart. I do like Saturn in Libra and also in the 10th house. It's like, so that's the meritocracy. If you work, this was the old axiom. If you work hard enough, you can get ahead. America's a meritocracy. A meritocracy. It's kind of changed though, hasn't it? AI and all the fucking tech geeks have sort of changed the playing field in a lot of ways. Okay, let's get back to this chart. So how does Mars and Virgo affect all of you? Well, you got to know where Virgo is in your chart and see where it's lining up. For me, it is my 10th house. How about that? 10th house. Not quite there yet, but it will be. This is a great time for health. You want to get healthy? Start something on a Mars Virgo transit. I don't care where it's shown up in your chart. We can all agree that Mars and Virgo is going to be very engaged and active with health. So that's new diets, exercise, whatever it takes, right? So Mars and Virgo is really great for that. I think there is an overriding energy, though, where I think if you're not careful, and I think we're all subject to this, but Virgos more than almost any other sign, since I'm nominally a Virgo, I do qualify, that we can be very hard on ourselves. And I'm not just talking Virgos, but people in general. And if you're not, even if you are in a place in your life where you feel like you're achieving or getting something done or making a difference, Mars and Virgo will kind of get you to reevaluate that. And in many cases, people will find themselves in their own minds, whether it's true or not far long enough. Like I could be, getting things done, and this could be better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? And some of that may even be true, but your response to it is going to be, I think, important. Let's take a quick look at the Sabian symbol. Let's go to Virgo 1. It's an interesting symbol. In a portrait, the significant features of a man's head are artistically emphasized. The capacity to picture oneself clearly, the salient features, and the overall meaning of any life situation. Let's just drop down to the last paragraph here. This is the first stage of the 31st fivefold sequence of symbols, and its keyword is discrimination. Implied in discrimination is both analysis and intuition. The mind separates and identifies, and unfortunately often exaggerates. What makes a person or situation different from another, but the intuitive responses of the whole person to what confronts him or her is also essential. What matters is not only my or your difference, but the place and function this difference occupies in the organic pattern of the evolution of humanity as a whole, i.e., man. So essentially what this symbol is referring to is detail, the capacity to picture oneself clearly, the salient features and the overall meaning of any life situation. Detail, attention to detail, whether it's looking at a portrait, noticing what's going on in the portrait, that portrait being your own life. This is the nature of this 1 degree, or this first degree in Virgo. And then can you turn that into a work of art? Because ultimately that's what your life is. Your life is a work of art. You're the sculptor, you're the painter, you're the author, you're all of it. You're all of it. So be too hard on yourself. Mars is squaring Uranus, as we have seen in the past couple of days. It is explosive. It is fiery. It is a barrage of missiles going from one place to another. I am very concerned. I'm going to talk about this over on 15 Minutes of Flame, that we are headed towards false flag territory to draw us deeper into a global conflict. This will not just be about Iran. It will include China. It will include Russia. It is the final showdown. It is the 3-year cocktail for the Great Reset. And we are rapidly approaching the event horizon. And if any of you out there are spiritual / religious, and you want to pray and meditate for the people of this world, the pure, the righteous, the vulnerable, the spiritually just, then go ahead, meditate and pray away, because I think we're gonna need it. We're gonna need it. The sun is getting ready to exit Gemini here. It's that final decan. It's in Aquarius, and it's going to be moving more into that square with Neptune. Jeez. And square with Saturn, like the hits just keep on coming. We got the solstice coming up, and it's going to be intense. It's gonna. I can just see this thing. We're going to be sold something. We're going to be sold a bill of goods, and you're going to have. I've already been seeing this. I'm going to cover some of this over on 15. The division in the truth, patriot, MAGA world. And MAGA is a cult. I'm sorry, it's a cult. And there are people in MAGA who are good people, who are still independent thinkers, who are, I would say, MAGA fluid. They're MAGA fluid, meaning that they can move kind of in and out. If they see something that doesn't add up to their profile of freedom and justice for all, they can reassess the situation. So there are people in MAGA that are MAGA fluid. There are people in MAGA that are not MAGA fluid. They're MAGA fixed. And the brainwashing is fucking deep. It is deep. And it has a lot to do with, I don't know. I should talk more about this later. I will. But I'm just talking about it because this is the sun moving into Cancer, and there's going to be, especially the conjunction with Jupiter, there's going to be a very strong call for Cancerian values like the home and the homeland. Now I'm just talking the U.S. And for you people that are tapping in from another time zone, just bear with me for a second, because it is kind of big. If we get into a war, the rest of you will undoubtedly have to deal with some degree of that or some aspect of that. And I think we all want to avoid that to the best of our ability. But Jupiter's going to make this bigger. Like, that's the nature of Jupiter, to make it bigger. So these feelings, either way, like say of, well, we don't want to get into a war. We don't want to be a part of that. We don't want to go fight for Israel or whomever, right? We don't want that. And then there's going to be other people on the other side who are going to be just all in on whatever it takes. If this is what it's going to take to make America great again, by removing the nuclear threat of Iran, then and following Trump, then they'll be in it, right? They'll be all in. And then that square with Neptune is very deceptive. It is, and especially because it's in Aries. What have we talked about with Aries? Again, war, and more war. Look at this. We got Ceres also in Aries. I think it's nurturing the independent spirit and the will, but it could also be nurturing the spirit of war. So in general, we're now, because Pluto's in Aquarius, we're really into the collective kind of, like, war affects everybody. I mean, everybody. So we're in a collective kind of approaching a collective state with very personal planets. From Aries to Libra, those planets are considered personal. So we're in a collective state, but we're experiencing personal repercussions and reverberations around us. And I think it's very convenient in some ways for this war to take place, because the economy still is not doing incredibly well. It's not doing incredibly well. And this is one, wars sometimes can stimulate economies. They can certainly avert people's attention away from the economy not doing well as well. Just on a personal level, it's going to, again, because we're so connected to what's happening out there now, you can't separate the two. Now, again, the sun it's still in Gemini, right? But it is in conjunction with Jupiter. So we're seeing this split, this fragmentation. And I don't like that Neptune square. It's terrible. It's delusional. And it's kind of like too, it's sort of like Trump's military parade, which was a big nothing burger. Big nothing burger. it was apparently the troops were kind of sloppy. Like I don't, it's just weird. I don't understand. It's trying to like build up morale so that we have some momentum going into this conflict. I don't know. It's just weird. And the sun is squaring Saturn here too, right? So it's going to be really. So we're looking at division, and we're looking at divided loyalties. If you go back and I've talked about this, and I'll talk about it again in 15 minutes, where we had the two major eclipses. What happens to America? It gets quartered. It's the quartering of America, right? One eclipse goes this way, the other goes this way, and we're cut into 4 slices. And for me, in terms of the two major political parties, you can see that quartering. You can see it more on the Republican side or the right side, but it's happening on the left. You just don't see it as much, right? You're seeing the left try to kind of move, slowly creep back to the center because they knew that they went way too far to the left and they lost the plot. So now you have a portion of the left who is still going to be kind of squad, AOC, Bernie Sanders, occupying like that spectrum. And then you'll have kind of more left migrating back to the center, like Karine Jean-Pierre now becoming an independent and no longer being a Democrat. So the quartering is happening there. You just can't see it as much. But the quartering is definitely happening inside the Republican Party, but the conservatives, where you have the aforementioned MAGA, and then you have people that are into truth and really American first and more conservatism, and they're not just going to co-sign on somebody because if you don't, you're one of them. I can't believe some of the shit I've seen on Twitter. I'm going to get into it. It's going to be crazy. It's mind blowing. All you got to do is just crawl through Juanita Broderick's thread. Anyway, this is kind of where we are right now. And it's going to get, so even in this is where it comes back into the personal. Even in your personal life, if you have conservative, quote unquote, conservative friends who are fiercely pro-Trump and they're just, you're going to co-sign on anything, and you're an independent thinker who is invested in the truth and not invested in, for lack of a better term, programming or propaganda, you're going to have a problem. And it may not be like the great divide that happened during COVID and be irreconcilable, but it won't be that far behind. It's a close second. So again, this is where we are with the sun in Gemini right here and squaring Neptune. These are critical transits that we're in right now. And Mars in Virgo just underscores this critical nature. Remember, on Sunday night, I talked about this in conjunct, and it's between 0 and 5 degrees Virgo. And, that takes us up to sometime next week, right? Because Mars kind of paces itself a little bit. It's not like Mercury, where it's basically, flipping a degree every day. And this in conjunct is false flag territory. That's what I talked about on Saturday night. I can't believe we're having this discussion. And then Jupiter over here as well. Oh my God, look at that. In conjunct Pluto. And again, this is the spirit of what? America and patriotism and all that stuff. Oh boy. We got the moon in Pisces. Is that right? Yeah, moon in Pisces. Now it's going to be coming in here, and it is going to start to tonight, but more tomorrow, coming in and squaring the sun. Oh boy, this is kind of a perfect storm, actually. Kind of a perfect storm. I guess on the individual level, nobody's try to keep your head out of the victim space. I do not like this transiting moon in Aries coming across Saturn, coming across Neptune, squaring Jupiter, and even squaring the sun even more. I ain't gonna lie, the next couple of days are gonna be turgid. Lots of feeling, lots of emotion, lots of rhetoric, lots of invective, lots of especially that moon in Pisces. Oh God, victimization. Oh, this is just. And the other thing too is, Pisces rules petroleum, and there's a big petroleum issue brewing out there in the uh, Strait of Hormuz, the Persian Gulf. We're just getting started. Today's Tears Day, Mars Day. I expect kind of new levels of aggression, especially in Virgo. Virgo is just so proactive, so preemptive. Like Mars and Virgo doesn't want you to see its imperfections. That's the nature of it. Oh, look, I wish I could be more positive. Is there some positive stuff here? Yeah, I mean, we've got this sextile to Mars and the Sun and Jupiter. Look, if you want to take care of your body, you want to take care of your health, because you're going to need to, right? I mean, let's just be honest here. If you're going to get through challenging times, you need to be able to tap into like your wellness and your physical reserves. It's kind of why I started working with a trainer. I mean, it's not because I saw this coming down the pipeline. I just knew that I needed some help in a way that I couldn't just do on my own, because there's certain exercise things that I just wouldn't do. I didn't know how to do that. Working with kettlebells and stuff like that. It's all new territory for me. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't started, I would say get going. Invest in your well-being. All right. Anything else? Okay. Speaking of investing in well-being, let's talk about True Hemp Science. And let's bring in our True Hemp Science star of the day. True Hemp Science is your one-stop shop for all things CBD. And in times like these, where you need to take a little bit of the edge off of your life circumstance and situation, I heartily recommend True Hemp Science, where if you spend $100 or more, you will get a goodie bag that will include some gummies, maybe a vial or two of Chris's special concoctions. Here's a bottle of Synapta I have right in front of me, right here. Synapta basically tells you what it's going to do. It's going to help you with your brain. The whole idea with CBD is to get it into your body and let your cells absorb it. So you're on basically a 30-day program with CBD, and you'll begin to notice the effects after 30 days. And there's a variety of elixirs that Chris has over there. And if you want to sleep, check out the sleep gummies. I highly recommend them as well. So 15MINS is your code. Type it in if you order $100 or more. And guess what? You get the goodie bag. $150 gets you free shipping. And there's always a 30-day money back guarantee. All right, let's talk about Kendrick Lamar. Now, I chose Kendrick Lamar for a couple of reasons. Number one, I know a little bit about Kendrick Lamar, but it's not like I'm a walking, talking Kendrick Lamar encyclopedia. So I'm really going to go off the chart more than about personal history. Okay. So I'm reading Kendrick, and I know that, of course, he's a rapper, and he's kind of a experimental, intellectual uh, rapper, right? He's not, even though he's born in Compton, he's about 180 degrees away from NWA. His famous record that he is noted for is To Pimp a Butterfly. And it's almost bordering on sort of progressive rock. So Kendrick Lamar sees himself as an artist. And he's a Libra rising, and Spica is right on the ascendant. So, right there. So, art, creativity, beauty, these are things that he's going to aspire towards in his everyday life. Right? If we become who we are on the ascendant, Kendrick Lamar is aspiring to project and embody the role of an artist. And I chose this picture because it's a profile, and in some ways, like it's very staged, right? Like, and for artistic effect, everything about it, from wearing the little hat and having the goatee, to this little point here. Like, in some ways, it's very Libran, right? But there's another thing about this picture that I find interesting. And then if you just look at this part of the backside of him, it almost looks like the profile of a person. And it's interesting because we started off talking about Janus and her birthday today, and Janus, the two-faced god. And it almost looks like, can you kind of see it here? Like, this is the forehead, the ridge of the brow, the eye socket, right? The nose, obviously a huge septum, mouth, and then a chin. And then over here, we have the other side of it. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if that was intentional, probably not, but still, it sort of fits this Gemini persona in a lot of ways. And he has Pluto in the first house. So, he's got this very easygoing, like Kendrick Lamar, just like any other Libra rising, goes further with honey than vinegar, right? This is the nature of Libra rising. But below that, he has Pluto and he has Pallas conjunct in the first house, which is pretty profound, actually. And when I think of that conjunction, I think of his appearance in the Super Bowl, which was deeply coded, very, very deeply coded. And if you, like, on the one hand, there was like this kind of, I think he came out sort of dressed in red, white, blue Americana stuff, which is kind of very Libra rising. Like, he's getting the people. Let me see if I can just get a picture real fast so I can show you. So if you haven't seen, because I know a lot of you are not big sports fans or culture fans. So this is what he comes out with. So this is, so here we go. I'll show you. Okay. This is exactly what I'm talking about right here. So this was part of the Super Bowl sort of choreography. It looks like an American flag, and he's kind of red, white, and bluing it, right? And what's that going to do for people who are seeing this? They're going to go, oh, yeah, did you see that? It wasn't Beyonce, and it wasn't Madonna, it wasn't explicitly anti-American. Well, if you listen to the lyrics of the songs that he chose, you would come away with a very, very different picture of what Kendrick Lamar was trying to say. And this is what I'm talking about with Libra rising. He's going to, that whole thing's going, oh, look, it's a flag. And he's wearing a Letterman's jacket. And it kind of looks red, white, and blue. But if you listen to the songs, they're not very pro-American in terms of the dominant culture. And that's where the Scorpio kicks in, right? This is where the intensity is sort of hidden and cloaked with this ascendant that, again, is sort of like you get further with honey than vinegar. He's not coming out and he's not grabbing his crotch and, yelling, fuck the cops. But he is subversive. And this is the subversive part of how he's literally expressing himself in that performance. He's very astute. He is he's kind of ahead of the curve in terms of trends. So Kendrick Lamar is not somebody who follows trends. He kind of sets trends. And you can see this with Pallas and Pluto. Now, this is when I saw, this is all very clustered up here. So he has Mars, part of Fortune, and Mercury all in Cancer, and they're all trining the moon. And I thought, if I was a rapper, I'd want those aspects. And I'll tell you why. Because Mercury-Mars conjunction would allow you to just spit, right? I mean, it would be easy. And then the trine with the moon is that you would remember the lyrics, right? Like, he's got a good memory. And he could probably just sit down and start, and then remember it too. Like, this is a really good skill to have for a guy in his profession. I ain't gonna lie, right? And he has the moon in the 5th house, so he's going to be creative, but his creative impulse is going to be much more feminine. And growing up in Compton is not easy. It's probably a bit easier now than it was when he was born back in 1987. He's got Saturn in the 2nd house. Family struggled with money. Moon Saturn square. Struggles with depression. Also, like typical love my mother, bigly also challenged by my mother, right? Moon Saturn square. And then the Moon Sun square. That's the father, mother. Kendrick Lamar has some family issues. He's not come out and say it, but he's got some family issues. I can tell you that right now. And I was looking at his chart, just trying to understand this thing from a pure astrological perspective. And I thought, this guy's got weird sexuality. He's got Venus and Gemini, okay? Venus and Gemini, like, which way are you going to go? And people have Venus and Gemini in a relationship, they're looking for a mirror. They're looking for a mirror of who they are sometimes on a physical level, but more on a mental, psychological level. And the mirror doesn't even always have to match, right? It could be the complete opposite of who they are on some level. I mean, complete, but it's still a mirror, right? It's a reflection, but it can be sort of like a negative reflection. But I think also if it's too negative, Venus and Gemini would get bored. So there's also a lot of switching and role playing that goes on with Venus and Gemini. Like, people can, and they kind of like it. Like, it's like, okay, well, today I'll be the dominant one. Tomorrow I'll be the submissive one. Or today I'll play the role of this person. And then tomorrow I'll play the role of that. And then we'll switch. We'll switch roles. There's a lot of switching here in Kendrick Lamar with Venus. And it's all in the 8th house, so it's secret. This guy's got secret relationships on the down low. People, like, I did look a little bit at relationships. I think he's probably gay. Um, and if he's not gay, he's certainly uh, bi-curious. And we have this in conjunct with Pluto here, Yadnoff. We're Yadnoff, Pluto, Neptune, and then Venus. So yeah, I think Kendrick's intimate life is strange. Strange. Um, Venus in the eighth house. It's the secret. It's the secret relationships, the occulted relationships, and that Yod is he's. I also feel like, in a weird way, this is a guy who is also in search of a muse, and I don't think it matters what sex the muse is. I think he's muse fluid. Um, Sun in Gemini, there's a lot of rappers with Sun in Gemini. Tupac's one of them. And did we talk about it? We talked about it. But Kendrick Lamar is another one. There's a shit ton of Gemini rappers. And his son's in the ninth house, so he has kind of a global appeal. And he's always exploring sort of new musical territory. And he's got this sextile with Jupiter. I would say he likes men more than women. But Jupiter and Aries on the seventh house cusp, I think he favors dudes. It's just my astrological takeaway. He's got a Mars Jupiter square. So that's actually ambitious. And a lot of his musical projects tend to be very ambitious. Like, I'm just going to make art. And, he's done pretty well at it. True node in Aries, in the sixth house. I wouldn't say he's been prodigious by any means. He's got, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 albums. Like, there are periods of time when he doesn't, between albums. But with the true node in Aries, he's supposed to be, independent in terms of his personal expression. I really feel like that the true node in Aries in the sixth house is very kind of, working man. It's like putting in the time. Maybe he should be a bit more productive. I'm, again, I am not a huge expert on Kendrick Lamar. I'm just reading this chart, but I think maybe he should be a bit more productive. And that's my sense. He could be. Take care of your health. All right, that's it. That's your True Hemp Science star of the day. One Kendrick Lamar. All right, thank you all for being here. I appreciate your time hanging out. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the company in chat, or Chataria. And follow me over on 15 if you want to hear me break down the war story. Oh boy, we'll be doing that over there. And look, I think I do a reasonable job of this. So if you want somebody to untangle the knots, spend at least an hour with me today, and I'll help you do that. You know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe, take care of yourselves, treat each other well. God bless, love you all. Signing off, Robert Phoenix.